gotta be against the law to look this damn good. Watch out now. Cause baby, I feel real good and I wish I would. Watch out now. It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good. Watch out now. Everybody watch out. Watch out now. I'm ready for a good time, and I came to groove. The whole band's here, and we came to move. Got a fresh haircut and 2 new shoes. We're here all night like we got nothing to lose. Coming out the jacket, cause we're turning up the heat.
Good morning, everybody. This is Michael P. America, and today I am glad to bring you comedian KJ, well-known comedian. And KJ, how are you doing today?
Hey man, I'm peachy, man. I'm alive. I can't complain. I got up and had a good smoothie. You know, hey man, I'm here, man. What's going on with it? How you feeling?
Hey. So all the snow gone in Minneapolis now, because Prince says sometimes it snows in April. So.
Oh, it snowed in May in this bitch.
Okay, so KJ, you're known as KJ. You've been doing this for how many years now?
19 years now.
19 years. So you're a veteran. You have a big resume. You have worked with some of the greatest. You worked on some of the shows with some of the greatest. And you're not yet a household name, except for those people who really love comedy. But guess what? I know you're going to change all that. I know you have a lot of things on your agenda coming up this year and moving forward. So again, it's good to see a vet, and hey man, you look good for a guy that's got 19 years in the game. You looking pretty good. Some of these young folks.
Hey, I'm a health nut. That's the only reason I'm looking like this.
So you serious about the health? Everything else is up there, man. It's funny, but no, the health is real. Oh, that's great.
Health is wealth, man. You ain't got health, you ain't got nothing. You can crawl up to the stage if you want to, but
well, we're seeing some of these folks being wheeled up there, and they're not even 30, 40 years old, and you're going, wow, man, that's pretty deep. So hey, I know you got a lot of shows coming up. You guys work all the time. Every time I'm talking to you, we're like, hey, I got this show going. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. How did you get into comedy?
I got into comedy, I guess. I was influenced by my dad. I called him a living room comedian. He was a cross between Red Fox, George Carlin, and I would say Richard Pryor. And,
the greatest comedians.
He had a little bit of all of that in him. He had one-liners, he had stories, he had riffs and rants. He had a lot of he influenced me unknowingly. I didn't know I was going to be a comedian until I was in the classroom. I was a teacher, and the only way I could really get my kids to pay attention is I would just roast them. I go at them, because they would talk a little smack to me, and I would tell them, stuff like, I was like, boy, you look just like your mama, man.
And we already know when you say mama, we got a problem right there. You got their attention.
Yeah, it's the way you say it. I said, you got strong features, her cheekbones and everything, man. I said, but all of a sudden, it would pay attention. They would pay attention, or you just have observations of them. I like, who you talking about? You don't like my sweater. You got all that orange on looking like a construction worker around here. Who are you talking about?
So you were pretty good at giving it back to them, bottom line, and they could relate to that.
Absolutely. And comedy, man, like I said, it was probably gifted to me unknowingly through my dad. And then I had a full scholarship at the Brave New Workshop here in the Twin City, which is like Second City in Chicago. It's improv. And so I was writing sketches that were being used in the play. And then, a few years after coming out of theater, I had about 5 viral videos when YouTube was at the forefront of comedy. I had one that went majorly viral about a spoof of Burger King running out of Whoppers, and I did the ghetto version of it. And so comedy has been like a staple in my life the last 19, 20 years, man. Just it's just therapy for me, man, to be able to.
Okay. So I also hear a little bit of Lenny Bruce in you. I mean, and that's if people are actually paying attention, to your comedy and they know a little bit about comedic history, I hear some Lenny Bruce going on. And when you mentioned all of the other greats, Lenny Bruce was one of the guys that popped up in my head when I was actually listening to your comedy. Because he could deliver some serious conversation, but make you laugh at it. Now, some folks can kind of, talk on the outskirts of it, but you kind of delve into it when you talk about, raising a teenager. You talk about basically being a comedian or entertainer when you don't have a lot of money, and all of those things. So, and you also talk about social issues. Which is really fascinating. If I can remember correctly, one of them was you were telling your son, "Hey, you better get on the court and practice more. You're gonna, work in retail. They're gonna be tasing you to go get something down."
Yeah, you'd be a 6'9" cashier at Walmart. Come in there and look up at your ass like, "Ooh, you didn't go to practice, did you?"
I was laughing at that because I've got a 6'4", 6'5" kid, and he's balling hard. He's hardcore baller. And I said, "Look, man," I said, "there's a lot of in my days, you couldn't make you didn't have all these ways to make money. There weren't all these revenue streams playing basketball. Now you guys can do all kinds of stuff." Okay,
man, they got NILs, they got branding. All the stuff that back, because I played D1, D2, I played semi-pro. So all back in the day, you would get these brown envelopes up under the door. I'm spilling little beans, but
boys gotta eat. Gotta eat
with no name on them. But now they can, if they like you and your name is hot, whatever, they can buy you a Mercedes Benz like they did for Angel Reese, for the girl that won the championship at I think at LSU, where Shaq
LeBron got a Hummer. Remember that?
Yeah. But he got.
Well, yeah, but like I said,
it wasn't. Now it's no problem for him to have a Hummer.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that. You car dealers will give it to you. It's a part of something you earn and you work for. Because the NCAA is $1 billion business,
multi-billion-dollar.
Yeah. And you know who getting pimped.
Yeah. Well, let's go on the other side of this. If, let's say, a kid doesn't go to school or doesn't get a pro job, he ends up in a gang. The gangs are paying, they're paying the kids that they enlist. They're paying them something. So you want to send a kid to college, tell them, no, you can't even get $10 to eat. And he's trying to do the right thing. You go on the wrong side of the fence, do the wrong thing. And those guys are paying you, to keep coming back and keep doing the thing. So I think, in education, I think there's a certain sense of justice in that. And then you've got these kids that do not have a lot of money. They don't come from money. And so while you're working and, you're giving an education, but there's a little exploitation going on. Come on. So you're exploiting their talent and they can't eat. You're gonna get on them over a sandwich. So I'm glad all that has changed, and it's for the better. I love our educational institutions. It's just that sometimes you got to do the right thing, and I think this is the right thing. You got certain states now. It's like, hey, you can go ahead and make money off your name. California is one of them. I love a lot of things about California. They do see things, ahead, and it's like, hey, we got to make this right. But we're also the entertainment capital of the world. So hey, how long were you a teacher?
For about 16, 17 years. And then Obama was in office, and that first real recession hit, and I got laid off, and you had to rebid each year. And so I took the unemployment because I was already doing comedy on the weekend, took the unemployment and just kept rolling. I was like, I like this freedom, but the cost of freedom ain't cheap though.
Well, the other thing is if they give it to you, they're going to try to find a way to take it back. But, what you do is you run with it, while you can and try to get to that next level. Right. And I think Yeah, and I think you're doing that. You know, I've been looking at, you know, I've been talking over, you know, what, for the last couple years at least, and
Yeah.
you know, and I love the fact that, you know, you're hungry, because you can't be in entertainment if you're not hungry, if you're not willing to work. And it doesn't really matter how old you are, or how young you are. If you want to do something in life, you just got to do it, and don't expect anybody to, you know, do it for you. Yeah, we know there's some political stuff going on, and that's fine. But, you know, the real talent often does come, you know, from these folks that like to grind. And I know you're one of these guys that like to grind. So where did you get your work ethic from? Because it takes a serious work ethic to do what you do for, you know, this, you know, for 19 years. It really does.
I mean, it starts with the first teacher growing up. You know, my parents had high work ethic. My dad, my mom, and you know, if you come from a big family, 8 brothers, sisters, 2 cousins, and you know, you come out of poverty, man, you have to change your mindset if you really want to make it. You really have to be like a Kobe Bryant. You got to understand the mama process. You got to understand that the joy in what you do is in the process. It's in the day-to-day grind. The people won't see that. They don't
Yeah.
know when you come back to the hotel, you ain't going to sleep. You are restructuring, reformatting jokes. You
Yeah.
like, man, I got to slang and pimp this joke better. I got to get this punchline. So these hoes understand what's happening out here.
I got a business partner, and his whole thing is, hey, you got to marry the process. You know, that
Yeah,
was his thing. He said it's all the process. You have to marry the process. Matter of fact, my
yeah,
business partner, his name is Sid Burstyn. He's a known actor. He's done many films,
mhm,
and he's like, you have to marry the process. He says
yeah.
that's what it's all about. And we know behind the scenes, it ain't pretty. It's ugly. You know, I mean,
It's, it's, it's ugly, man. People don't understand, man. Michael, they don't understand. People, they don't understand, man, the hell gigs. I've been on gigs where I with other comedians, and I just seen somebody throw a garbage can on the stage. Just throw it like, get that motherfucker. Can I cuss, or is it just is the FCC related? Let me
Hey
know.
man, do your thing, man. This
I
is
don't want to. I don't want to. You know, I naturally, me, you know, comedians, we naturally cuss.
do your thing. We're live. We're raw here. We do what we do.
Okay. So they threw a motherfucking can up on stage. Said, "Get your motherfucking ass off stage." And I was like, I got to go up after that shit too.
Hey, I was doing a show, and it was in Minnesota, you know, and bands on stage, and we're jamming, and dude brought his wife to the show, and she's loving it a little bit too much, and she got mad. He got mad and tried to jump up on stage and attack me. And you know, my security, you know, they had to give him a beat down. But this guy, I've seen it, and it was like, hey man, why did you bring her to the show if you know she's gonna get like that?
Yeah, that's crazy, man. And then the thing about comedians nowadays, you know, they talking about cancer culture and people who can't handle jokes. And I always say at the end of my show, I said, hey, let me tell y'all that cancer culture is really a concept that's not really should be considered a concept, because the premise of a joke has a disclaimer in it. It's a joke. It's the most beautiful art form in the world. I mean,
It's also, so let me stop
go
you
ahead.
right there. There's also a freedom of speech issue,
Yeah,
you know, that comes along with the cancel culture. And a lot
yeah,
of that is that they're trying to stop freedom of speech. And
yes,
that's a whole other conversation. But I know you get into social, you know,
yeah,
sometimes you do a little social commentary, because I've been listening. I'm like,
yeah,
oh, okay.
yeah. Because freedom. I mean, stand-up comedy is the last refugee of freedom of speech for artists.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't take a joke, you can't understand that the whole premise of a joke is an art form. Now, if you thinking it's literal, you have a problem here. Mentally, there's something wrong with you. Because if you don't like a joke, get up and leave. Ain't nobody asked you to stay. Get your ass up and leave.
Well, you
You know what I
came.
mean?
You need to know who and what you're paying for, what you're dealing
Yes.
with before you walk in the door.
So at the end of the shows, you know, I came up with this line just a few weeks ago. I said, you know, I let them know if the energy is good. I said, you guys have been an amazing audience. And I thank you. I want to make you understand that the concept of a joke is just premise, punchlines. There's craftsmanship into crafting these jokes. And if I said anything to offend you or make you feel uncomfortable, I just want to tell you I love you for being here, but also from the bottom of my heart, I don't give a shit.
Well, I mean, you listen, this is what you do. And the preconceived notion should be, well, it's going to be unpredictable because it's live
It's
and
like,
it's comedy. And we've already heard some of this brother stuff, or,
yeah,
this is what it is. So I can say, yeah, be unapologetic.
yeah,
You just do, you go bold,
yeah.
you go
I
bold
mean,
into your future.
you
Yeah.
shouldn't have to apologize for living your dream or your passion, man. You shouldn't have to apologize to nobody for that. You're just being in a state of being of doing something blissful that you love to do, and you sharing that gift with the world. But oftentimes you have people who forget their place in the world, who literally, are going too far with this premises of, oh, I don't like you. You should be on anything else. No, man, I don't like you either. Don't come back. You know what I mean?
Okay, so I like to actually inject a few things that my boy said in the past before he died, and he said, there's 6 billion people on the planet. We got more now, but so this goes way back a little bit. He said there's 6 billion people on the planet. Somebody's going to want to buy your product. And I'm going, that's pretty good. And that's to
Yeah,
me enough said. So we're climbing up on 8 billion. Somebody's going to want it. Enough
yeah,
said. Your
absolutely.
branding is you. Now, I got another question for you. What does your family think about your comedy?
My family, let me see. My wife is 100% supportive. My son is supportive. And then I have some family members that don't really understand the concept of comedy. If you're not their cup of tea, then they'll let you know. I got a couple of sisters that I don't think they really understand comedy, and family can be mean to you, man. They'll tell you stuff like you should get a job. I ain't telling you what you should do with your life. Don't tell me what I do with mine. I'm fine with what I'm doing. I ain't tell you what to do with you should get a better congregation. You trying to be a minister, and your husband 20 years younger than you, and y'all over there smoking blunts and drinking. Don't tell me what to do with my life.
Well, the funny part is they're telling you to get a job, but you have a career.
I'm a
So
career.
I think the response is, I have a career,
Absolutely.
a job, and I'm not trying to, down any of the fast food places. That's a job. Okay.
That's a
If you're a
job.
manager, that's a career. If
Yep.
you are just, they're ringing, got the fries going in the burgers, that's a job. Anybody in the corporate structure, that's a career. What you're doing is a career,
It's a
and it's
career.
a career that you have to finance yourself. So I think that they got it all backwards. The issue
Yeah.
is that art is personal no matter what it is. And I think that sometimes, people attack that because that's the only thing that they can attack. But that's okay. Who cares about that? So
Yeah.
you have a son. What does your son think about your comedy? Because I know you kind of putting them out there sometimes,
Oh,
and your
yeah.
wife.
Yeah. They love it. They know it's me. They know that I get to do me and have fun and just tell my side of life and what I see and observe at home, or tell my stories and tell it my way, and they cool with it. They come to show they're supportive. And I mean, sometimes my wife is a little too supportive. I had to tell her the last show. She said, "Well, she knows my material well." She said, "Well, you didn't do these tags," and I said, "I know I didn't do those tags because I'm hosting tonight and it's shorter time period, and I'm kind of playing the point guard. I'm the facilitator, the orchestrator. I'm not the main ticket tonight. I'm the host. I'm hosting all my beautiful friends. But you could have did." I'm like, "Babe, last time I checked, when I wrote these jokes, your part was quiet. You wasn't at the lab at the table writing these jokes." And she was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I get what you're saying. You put me in my place."
So do you think that any of your kids are going to follow your footsteps, or what do you think about that?
No, I don't think so. I think my kids are probably athletes and business people. a couple of them are, they're like blue collar workers.
Okay.
And my
Hey, but they could
youngest
put it
son,
down but hold on, they could put it down in business and start managing dad's business and start making some money, get you out here in Vegas, you know.
it's funny, yeah, yeah, I would love that, but right now, kids are trying to find themselves. A
That's
lot of
true.
young people are trying to find themselves. They, after the pandemic, it exposed a lot of the world as to what do I really want to do with life, because life became so fragile. But yeah, but I try to inspire them to look, find that niche, find something you love to do and you're good at, and then make that your career. But
Okay.
yeah.
So hey, what's the future look like for KJ the comedian? What type of things do you have in your sights?
Well, I would say I'm a guy who lives in the moment, like the present tense. So I constantly build like projects and do a lot of different things. I constantly work on film writing, crafting jokes. I'm a lyricist. I do spoken word with jazz, neo soul, R&B music. I'm just an artist geek, man. I have so much fun in crafting and trying to complete projects. And so the future for me is like day to day, man. Just being in the moment, thriving in shows, perfecting my craft, and then learning the business side, which is the hardest thing for me right now, because I love being a performer, but I know in order for me to perform and expose my gift, I have to indulge in learning more business side. And you know what I'm talking about, man. The business side. Ooh,
Absolutely. That's why I got my own.
You ever have to chase a promoter down the alley and almost beat his ass to get your money?
Hey, I'm done with that. I'm done with those days. There was a guy out there, and thank God they put this dude behind bars. But we signed a contract with him, and he looked at me and he said, "Michael, my man, contracts are made to be broken." And I'm going, "Oh man, we're screwed. We are screwed." And unfortunately, he messed around with the wrong folks, and they took him down, man. And his wife was like, "I don't know why." Well, you know why? Because you were living off of what he was doing.
Right.
So, hey, it was a good thing.
So let me ask you a question, Michael. Let me ask you a quick question.
Go ahead.
How has the Writers Guild strike affected you? Because I know some things I was up for, I can't really speak about because the kind of stuff they make you sign. But how has the Writers Guild contract affected you? I mean, in terms of, I know you deal with a lot of pushing projects as far as show running and film and music, and how are you feeling any brunt of the effect of this Writers Guild strike?
I think
I'm like the interviewee now.
Well, honestly, we're not too impacted because we deal with a lot of independents. All right. So, but a lot of these folks that are locked into the industry, that's and I'm talking about the main industry, not so much the independent. There's levels to independent film, and that's the other part. So, and it's kind of, we can have artists that are, cutting their teeth to artists that have actually had some mainstream success. And so when you start getting into the mainstream success, that's when a lot of these folks, they're in the unions and whatnot. And right. I would never want to be, as they call a union buster or anything like that. But it's just kind of the nature of independent film that we're actually not hurting as bad as, say, like the majors are, dealing with them, because a lot of those guys have the writers that are out there striking. A lot of those cats have, real high paying industry jobs. They're in really good positions, and they're, and I understand it. They're trying to secure it because the AI, man, AI is the possibilities are all over the place, and we're not seeing the real technology. You can think 100 years ahead. Anytime any technology is introduced, we're at least 100 years behind. They got some real stuff going on. You hear them, they just did they ripped off The Weeknd, and somebody tried to do with AI and all of that. And I'm going, yeah, that's That's not right. And so the one thing though I would say to anybody is, if you're an artist, continue to be that artist. Who cares? Let AI do what it does, but you keep doing what you do, because you know they're gonna have to pay you to reproduce you. That's where it's gonna be. And that's what it proved when you know, The Weeknd had, and I forgot who the other artist was, is like, hey, you know, come on, man, we didn't release that. You need to back up off that. And what they're saying is, if you're going to do this kind of stuff, one, you can't mess with my brand. Two, you need to make sure I get paid. And three, don't misrepresent what this really is, you know. And I know the launch of that was strategic. We all know that, but that's a whole other conversation. I got a question for you. Now let's turn the tables again. So for anyone who is looking to get in to your business, young person, maybe someone who doesn't quite have your experience, what advice can you actually give them?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say you have to have tough skin. Because the first 3 years, you got to try a lot of different audience. And if you can't embrace bombing, because bombing is a part of learning, you're going to get up there and you're not going to read that audience right, and they're not going to give you nothing. And you got to be able to embrace that. You got to be able to say, okay, I really love this. Let me come back. And then you got to learn how to write. A lot of comedians overlook that. They steal other comedians' jokes. Nah, don't do nobody else stuff. That's a no-no. Find your voice, find your point of view, find your style, find your particular genre of comedy. Like if you're observation storytellers, one-liners, punch, traditional premise, setup, punchline, whatever complements your point of view, what you have to say. And then don't be afraid to delve into your life and make comedy out of it. I mean, I do a bit about my dad shooting at me.
Yeah, I heard that's pretty deep.
Yeah, I do a bit, but it took years to finally release that, you know. But if you can learn to be fearless with your voice in those first 3 years and try as many different audience and figure out where your demographic is going to be, who's your audience, and it's going to be dog days, because you got to understand. Let's talk about Redd Foxx real quick. Redd Foxx had been on the Chitlin circuit for 30-something years before TV discovered him.
That's a long time.
30-something years, man, Redd Foxx. Rodney Dangerfield was out there for a long time. And so you got to understand that this is a journey, man. This is not a race. And if you're doing it for instant results, you're gonna get your feelings hurt. You got to love the journey. You got to learn the process, the day to day. Because if you just, you can't. A lot of people want instant gratification without the dedication, the discipline, the commitment it takes. Being committed to do the process. It's hard, man. There were days. I mean, for me, I think halfway through my career, I had to make a decision about basically how long I want to be in this game. So 10 years ago, I got 10 years sobriety. So 10 years ago, I was like, no more drinking that yak and all that, and trying to medicate this pain or whatever. Because you want it so bad that you frustrate yourself. So I would say to the young people, don't overindulge in because there's a lot of free drinks and don't overindulge in substance. Stay focused, grind, believe in yourself, and be fearless. That would be my advice.
So I like that part, because I think that fear, I always said that fear paralyzes. And yes. I see a lot of folks, they get stagnated by fear. Mm-hmm. And hey, in the old days, they used to say, hey, if you have stage fright or whatever, imagine yourself on stage and everybody's naked. The crowd's naked. And I'm going, no, what you do is, if you want to get rid of your fear, get naked and then get on stage. Because once all the laughter ceases, you're going to connect somehow, but you need to, whatever monkey's on your back, you need to confront it, get it out the way, and then take care of business. So that's
Definitely.
sorry, parents. I'm not trying to tell your kids to become strippers, but I'm just saying we have to be fearless in everything that we're doing. We only got one life. That's kind of how I look at it. So
That's it, man. You cannot be afraid. I think Les Brown. I don't know if you ever listened to Les Brown.
Oh yeah.
Les Brown said, "Fear. The fear is described as false evidence appearing real." That's the way Les Brown described it. False evidence appearing real.
Are you going to need an emoji, bro? Because that's the times we're in right now. It's legit what you're saying, but these kids are like 1 word, 2 words, 3. You're gonna need to give them an emoji now.
yeah. I got to figure that out. I create some for my sons, like GYST. Like, hey, Pops, what does that mean? Get your shit together.
Yeah, I have to take my kids and say, hey, let me give you all these sayings that we got, from the older folks in our day, okay? And I asked them, so you guys have any sayings? I said, oh, that's right. You guys have emojis. Forgive me. You don't do sayings, you do emojis. So, hey, tour dates, anything coming up?
Yeah. I'm at Pass Casino in Las Vegas, and then Notoriety the 9th and 10th in Las Vegas. I have a few other gigs in between there. I just wait for confirmation. Tonight.
So that's June, right? The month of June?
Yeah, that's June. Yeah, June. It starts June 2nd. Pass Casino. 9th and 10th, Notoriety Club. And then in between, there's a few other things I haven't quite wait for confirmations. And then tonight I'm in Rochester, Minnesota tonight at Tawny Philly Sub and Grill or something like that. I hope they really have some good food because I'm looking forward to that. Probably
and a sellout crowd, that would be great too.
Yeah, the Mayo Clinic people probably come out. It'll probably be a fun show. And then July, where am I? The end of July, I'm in Salt Lake, Utah. And mid-July, I think I can't remember. I'm somewhere here, and then somewhere else. And then
going back to Coon Rapids, are you?
I'm in a showcase June 23rd here at Kroner's Lounge, which is just for laugh. People are coming, industry people are coming, and cruise ship people. So I'm try to perfect my clean set by then. So
it has to be milk and cookies.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're gonna work cruise ship, or if you sometimes when a lot of young comics, let me say, a lot of young comics don't know that if you're doing a showcase set, you kind of pick some of your best stuff, but you want to do it clean, and you want to give your best appearance for your best brand, for like if you want to do bigger corporate kind of stuff, like if you want to do cruise ship, if you want to do maybe colleges and stuff like that. So you pick the stuff that doesn't put you in a box. Like, I don't like to do political material. I don't like to do religious material. I like to do stuff by myself, family, observation, working out, health nut, just
you're talking about when you're doing a showcase, correct?
Yeah. So I stay away from the political and religious material.
Okay, so you're doing the milk and cookies, but we know what Richard Pryor said would happen when he dunked his Oreo in some milk.
Yeah. Milk and cookies, yeah.
Okay, everybody, this is Michael P. America, and we've been talking to KJ the comedian. Go out and see him. If you haven't seen him, go out and see him. And if you have seen him, go see him again. Thank you guys for joining us here on the Michael P. America show. And we're going to wind it up, and you guys have a great day.
Thank you, Mike.
It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good. Cause baby, I feel real good, and I wish I would. It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good. Everybody watch out. Watch out now, I'm ready for a good time, and I came to groove. The whole band's here and we came to move. Got a fresh haircut and 2 new shoes. We're here all night like we got nothing to lose. Coming out the jacket cause we're turning up the heat.